Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, March 25, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your coworkers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the that's been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to be highlighting this post that was made today on our social media platforms. And if you haven't been seeing any posts being made on our Facebook platform recently, it's because there's some glitch going on with the account over there on Facebook. So in the meantime, if you have a Twitter, a TikTok, a Threads, an Instagram, or even a Blue Sky account, you can follow us over there at Weather Jamaica. We'll see if we can get Facebook to fix whatever glitch we're having on our Facebook page at this time. Either way, this post was made today highlighting the fact that we're getting in on some strong winds and it's definitely causing a dust nuisance. It's stating here, attention, Jamaicans are being urged to wear masks to protect themselves from dust-related respiratory illnesses such as asthma, sinusitis, and others due to the very windy conditions expected this week, March 23 to 29, 2025. And we've been getting the strong winds since the weekend, but we need to highlight how it is causing a lot of dust to be in the air in general, not necessarily Saharan dust, but dust on the Jamaican ground just blowing either way. So we're warning persons, we don't want anyone to get sick, we don't want any respiratory illnesses at all. COVID-19 was enough back then. Right now, mask up, wear your mask, stay safe. Nobody wants to get sick at this time. And let's see, yeah. Alright, so we need to highlight a post that was made today by Philip Klotzbach. He's actually a meteorologist at the Colorado State University, specializing in Atlantic Basin seasonal hurricane forecasts. And from time to time, he makes some very accurate posts about the hurricane season. And he posted recently highlighting the fact that the Colorado State University will issue its first 2025 Atlantic seasonal hurricane forecast at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Thursday, April 3. So it's only a couple days away that they'll tell us whether or not they think the season is going to be average, above average, below average, or whatever the case may be. We know how accurate they can be at times, and they were almost spot on with their forecast from last year. And he's also highlighted numerous graphics here showing the sea surface temperatures. The sea surface temperatures have a lot to do with what the hurricane season might be like. We see the very warm waters of the Atlantic in the yellows and the oranges. We also see the warm eastern to almost central Pacific. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what is predicted. We also see that the eastern main development region has a lot of white that represents maybe some cooling taking place. So who knows, maybe it's going to be a struggle, maybe it's just going to be normal in general. We'll see what they forecast on April 3. I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what they say. Alright, so we're also going to be looking at the Global Tropics Hazards Outlook from the US Climate Prediction Center, highlighting what the weather is going to be like from April 2 to April 8 as well as April 9 to April 15. And as usual, we're going to be looking at the Atlantic over here where we have Jamaica. And for April 2 to April 8, we don't see much of anything. All we see is some greens represent above normal rainfall across portions of northern and South America and southeastern Central America, Costa Rica, Panama. We also see some yellows across the US that represents above average temperatures. So above average rainfall across northern South America, above average temperatures across North America. Let's see what the time period from April 9 to April 15 has in store for us. Not much of anything across the Caribbean, including Jamaica still, but we see some of these greens that represent above normal rainfall extending not only across the northern portion of South America but even into the eastern Caribbean. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. We know that what the US Climate Prediction Center usually shows is not set in stone, so we have to take these forecasts with a grain of salt. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the Euro and the GFS supercomputer models are showing. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go out to the next 168 hours. That's the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as you look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place over the next 7 days. As we head into Wednesday morning, not much of anything in terms of bad weather across the island. We see some moisture to the east of us. Then on Wednesday afternoon, we see some moisture across southern parishes. That's what the GFS is showing for the same time period. On Wednesday morning, we see rainfall across western Jamaica, the waters to our north. Wednesday afternoon, we see rainfall across southern parishes. So it looks like southern Jamaica could get on some isolated afternoon rainfall on a Wednesday afternoon, as both the Euro and the GFS models are showing this. We're going to be showing some more later on with the close-up. Let's head into Thursday. What do we see? On Thursday morning, we see rainfall across northern parishes on the Euro. Thursday afternoon, we see rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes on the Euro. What does the GFS show? Thursday morning, not much of anything across Jamaica. We see moisture to our west, south, and north. But it's Thursday afternoon that we see some moisture to the east of us, across western Jamaica, and across the waters to our south. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. On Friday, that's what's going to be taking place. We see moisture to our south. We see moisture across eastern and northeastern parishes. Then on Friday afternoon, we see that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Let's see what the GFS is showing. Friday morning, northeastern parishes with that rainfall. Friday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. And we've been talking about this, that the more we wrap up March, the wetter it's getting. We see some dark greens, even into some slight yellows in there too. Very interesting, associated with the moisture from a leftover frontal system, maybe interacting with a trough extending from northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to the Bahamas, Cuba, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, and Jamaica. And if we take a look at the morning forecast on the Euro for Saturday, we see the rainfall still plaguing portion of the northern section of the Caribbean. Some rainfall to our north. And then on Saturday afternoon, we see that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Rainfall to our west, to our north. Then on Saturday afternoon, rainfall across northwestern parishes. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Heading into Sunday morning, what do we see? Rainfall to our south and east on the Euro. On the end of the day on a Sunday, we see that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show for the same time period? Rainfall to our northeast, rainfall to our west. Then we see that by the end of the day on Sunday, we see that rainfall across central and western parishes. Very interesting. What does Monday morning show? Monday morning shows us that we should be getting on some rainfall across eastern parishes, according to the Euro. Then on Monday afternoon, we see a rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours, which is about 7 a.m. on Tuesday, April 1. And we see rainfall across eastern Jamaica on the waters to our southwest. Let us see if we have the consensus on the GFS. Monday morning, rainfall to our south. Monday afternoon has that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Then on Tuesday morning, we see that rainfall to our west and to our south. And by the end of the day, on the end of the 168 hours, maybe that rainfall across sections of some eastern parishes. So we have some similarities, we have some differences. We'll see how all of that plays out. Either way, in terms of the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS, we see that the map is very colorful. Lots of rainfall expected, especially where we have the dark reds, purples into the pinks. They represent what we see here on the key on the right. That's anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of rainfall, and that could be experienced across sections of the Bahamas, Cuba, sections of Hispaniola, sections of Panama, Costa Rica, and Colombia, even into section of Guyana, maybe Suriname and French Guyana, according to the GFS. The Euro is showing something similar with the same areas. So there could be some amount of isolated flash flooding taking place in those spots. While we see other areas shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds, that represents anywhere from 0.1 of an inch of rainfall all the way up to 1 inch of rainfall or close to 2. And we're referring to areas such as Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, sections of St. Kitts and Nevis, sections of Martinique, Montserrat, St. Martin, US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Florida, the Cayman Islands, eastern portion of the Yucatan, Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua for sure. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are showing the same thing. And we know that when they're showing the same thing like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. And if we look at the close-up of Jamaica, yesterday we highlighted that both maps were showing a lot of rainfall across the northeast, Portland and St. Mary, and I guess we had some of that today, which is why the map has basically decreased in intensity. Yesterday it was all the way up to close to 100 millimeters of rainfall. So I guess we could say that we definitely got on some of that today because it's definitely less on both maps. But we still have a lot of rainfall to receive. We see the greens into the yellows, into the oranges, especially across the northeast and the eastern end. That represents anywhere from 15 millimeters of rainfall all the way to 76 millimeters of rainfall, like what we're seeing here across Portland and the Euro. Keep in mind that this map is showing all the rainfall accumulated from now all the way up until April 1. The GFS is a bit more reserved with the rainfall totals, showing the blues into the greens represents anywhere from a millimeter all the way up to maybe 30 millimeters, and even the yellows from 30 to 50 millimeters of rainfall, especially across western and northeastern and eastern parishes for sure. It's going to be interesting to see how all of this plays out. Either way, we know that usually when it comes to the east or the northeastern areas, those rainfall totals are expected during the morning hours, during the afternoon on the central and western sides of the island. So whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted on our other social media platforms, so stay tuned. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see a ridge of high pressure right here to the north that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can see the tail end of a cold front right here to the east of the high pressure dome. We can see a trough right here as represented by the broken orange lines to the northeast of the Caribbean. And we can see another cold front right here with a trough that's induced across Florida, extending into portions of the waters to the east of the US, down into Florida and the northern Gulf. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out all of these entities that we just mentioned. First of all, the clouds associated with the trough are somewhere in here, and we can see that they're definitely pushing westward. Clouds associated with the tail end of the cold front is somewhere in here, and the clouds associated with the frontal system and the trough across Florida and the Gulf is definitely right here. We can definitely see the clouds associated with that. And look at the flow of the clouds pushing in from east to west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north. We know the easterly trade winds are definitely being dominant these days, definitely causing a lot of windy conditions, especially across Jamaica. And we can see the low to mid-level flow of the clouds. Some of these clouds definitely have some moisture within them, pushing their way through across sections of the Caribbean. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean later on. let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, March 25, 2025. It was stated that rainfall would have been in the forecast of parts of eastern Jamaica on Tuesday morning, also affecting sections of some central and western parishes during Tuesday afternoon. And we know eastern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Central parishes, and we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While western parishes, and we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? At around 7:06 a.m., the visible satellite image was posted on our social media platform, on our Instagram page weather.jamaica, on our Twitter page weatherjamaica, and on our TikTok page weatherjamaica too. Unfortunately, no post was made on our Facebook page, as I've stated earlier. There's a glitch going on over at Facebook. Hopefully they sort it out soon. Either way, we see that at around 7:06 a.m. we're getting in on some amount of clouds, bringing some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers, to section of eastern Jamaica, just as predicted. We're talking about St. Thomas, Portland, and spilling into section of St. Mary and even sections of St. Anne. For sure, they definitely picked up a lot of rainfall, especially across St. Mary today. Then at around 12:46 p.m., the visible satellite image was posted once again, and it highlighted that we're definitely getting on some clouds, bringing some isolated showers to section of St. Thomas, Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, sections of Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Hanover. While we see that it was basically clear on the south coast at that time, southern Clarendon, southern St. Catherine, Kingston, definitely clear, but some of these clouds that pushed in from the east definitely raked over a section of these southern parishes too. So we got some hit or miss isolated showers. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before we lost the sunlight, we can see the flow of the low level clouds being steered from east to west. And then by the time we lost the sunlight, we're still getting on some clouds across the western end, but most of the clouds were off out to sea. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can see that there was not much in the way of convection today at all. Don't see much in the way of blues, greens, yellows, oranges, and reds. Just a brief moment where we saw some blues across sections of Hanover, so that's where the brunt of the convection for today was, but no sparkling white dots that represent lightning strikes or lightning flashes at all. But we can still make out the milky white shades that represent the cloud cover across the northern and western ends of the island, especially across the waters to the northwest of us. And if we take a look at what was happening on See Jamaica's YouTube channel at around 1:26 p.m., it was definitely cloudy, not much in the way of bad weather, no rainfall, nothing drastic taking place. We can see that the real Cobra was definitely chilling at that time for sure, and we can see people there chilling and enjoying the fine weather. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all up for free, halfway tree, crossroad, you name it. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website. This map paints quite the picture of where we might have had the rainfall today across section of some eastern, central, and western parishes for sure, but it is not 100% accurate, as we know. We can definitely see that rainfall that section of Portland and St. Mary had, though, even section of Hanover for sure, and that definitely confirms that we had that rainfall today as well. And we had some comments coming in from some of our subscribers as well as some of our followers on our social media platform. We had Gail Santa stating lots of rain, St. Mary, Jamaica. We have Aston Gooden 9920, moderate to heavy rain here in Linstead and Wharton. We also have very heavy winds and clouds in South St. Elizabeth. Thanks for confirming it, Winston. And even on our Instagram page, we had Katie Phil stating overcast skies in License, St. Thomas. Thanks for confirming that this morning. On our afternoon post on our Instagram page, we had vodka underscore and underscore vibes underscore stating wind and rain in St. Andrew a while ago. I'm glad for it. And we even had a video clip here from Trevor on our Twitter page. Well, not a video clip, but an image highlighting the rainfall that took place. And when asked where this was, definitely in the parish of St. Mary. So thanks for confirming the rainfall that over there got. We spoke about this, that some of the rainfall that eastern Jamaica was receiving could have spilled into sections of maybe Kingston or St. Andrew, if not St. Mary. And that was indeed what happened. We have Predinica stating, where the rain there, it just sprinkled and stopped. And that was in St. Andrew that she was referring to. We also have Keller 4011 stating hot. We have Peaches underscore Anna underscore Cream stating overcast at low temperature, a light touch of rain. We also have a Mick.Ayla underscore stating raining. Alice Miles stating overcast with on and off rain in Hanover. Even on our third page, we had Cardoza 7787 stating very raining here in Portland non-stop. Thanks for confirming that too. And I guess that is it for all of the comments. So thank you guys very much for confirming what the weather was like in your ear. Sounds like the forecast was definitely accurate. Alright, so we're going to be reloading the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. Let's see what's happening right now. Alright, so the very latest still image is showing 0035 UTC, which is actually 7:35 p.m. So this just came out 5, 10, 15, 16 minutes ago, considering that it's 7:52 p.m. right now. And what we're seeing is some leftover clouds across the waters to our west and northwest. And we still have some of these clouds across sections of Manchester, St. Elizabeth, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland as we speak. Maybe some of these clouds are just blocking out the stars, if not the moon. And maybe some of these clouds are bringing some isolated showers, who knows? And if we take a look at the very latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery, the very latest imagery is showing 8:40 p.m., which is actually 7:40 p.m. So this just came out 12 minutes ago, considering that it's 7:52 p.m. right now. And what we're seeing is some decent rainfall across section of eastern Cuba to the northwest of Guantanamo right here. We see some rainfall right here to the west of Jamaica. Look at the greens into the yellows that represent moderate rainfall. Even some Fuerte, some strong rainfall too. And I know you see some colors across northern Jamaica. Don't be fooled, all of that is just ground clutcher. That's just a glitch on the Cuban Doppler radar. Let's see if Met Service has updated their radar, because I spoke with Evan Thompson recently and he stated that there's a chance that the Jamaican Doppler radar could be working in time for the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season, so maybe we might just be able to use it. So I'm here at medservice.gov.jm. Let's see if it actually loads when I click on a radar imagery. Haven't been here in a long time. Okay, it doesn't seem like it's working as yet. Hopefully it is sorted out soon so that we don't have to be depending on the Cuban radar or the Guantanamo Bay radar right here, confirming that rainfall to the northwest of Guantanamo. Look at the moderate to heavy rainfall right there. Don't see anything across northeastern Jamaica or the western peninsula of Haiti though. But taking a look at the Cayman radar, we don't see much happening across the Cayman Islands right now or western Jamaica, but we do see some showers to the south and southeast of the Cayman Islands as we speak, pushing from east to west. Taking a look at what's happening right now on the Barbican camera, we can see that people are there going about their business. Definitely seems like it's going to be a fair night or a fair evening for sure. Dry weather should persist. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Wednesday, temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 21 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Wednesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday, and you can see Jamaica right here embedded in some yellow shade. That will now represent up to 1 degree Celsius above normal temperature according to the key on the right. We know the normal temperature for the month of March across Jamaica is around 87.3 degrees Fahrenheit, and when that's converted to degrees Celsius, it's around 30.7 degrees Celsius. So it should be receiving anywhere from 30.7 to 31.7 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Wednesday. And unfortunately, we have some maintenance outage advisories here to highlight from my JPS Online's Twitter page. I know that we have to highlight these because we know that when we have power outages in our area, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. There's no power. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Wednesday, March 26, 2025. We're referring to Watercress, Redgate, Cade Mountain, Kentucky, Bunyan, Bluefields, Brighton, Robbins River, Beeston, Spring, Bog, Newarks, Kilmarnock, Belmont Farm, Mountain Edgecombe. Forgive me if I'm butchering any of these names. And all of this is located in the parish of Westmoreland. And the outage will last from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Crazy. We also have Concord to Fort George in Clarendon. Outage lasting from 9:15 a.m. to 6 p.m. We have Huntley or Joylet Street in St. Anne from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And finally we have Martha Bray Square in Trelawney from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And if tomorrow is going to be a bit too hot for you, we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, when outside, seek shade. Eat fresh, try eating cold foods such as salads and fruit. Rest, make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. So take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated. Drink lots of water throughout the day, even if you're not thirsty. And put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those rays. And we can see the abundance of dry air across the entire Atlantic basin. We know the dry air is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain, making it harder for us to get a storm, especially in the month of March. And we have some yellows in there across the central to the western Caribbean. We also see some blues across the eastern Pacific and the southern main development region where we have the intertropical convergence. So it makes sense that we have some moist air here and there scattered across the basin, even into the Caribbean, which explains why we've been getting some amount of rainfall, especially across the Jamaica area recently. And no complaints, we're indeed grateful for the rainfall. Regarding the Saharan dust forecast for 18 UTC on Wednesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday, we can see the browns represent the Saharan dust extending from the eastern portion of the main development region right there off the west coast of Africa, all the way down to the south into portions of the Windward Islands, the ABC Islands, northern South America, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana. But we like it how the more west it goes, the duller the browns get. Looks more like a dull shade of brown. That's indicating the low end of the scale in terms of the Saharan dust. That's what we want to see. The more west it goes, the more it dies out. We don't want these dark brown shades like what we see across the eastern main development region or Africa. That means the very hazy skies that can trigger respiratory illnesses, asthma, sinusitis, you name it. So we're indeed grateful that this is the forecast for 1 p.m. on Wednesday. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, not much change, still seeing the purples into the pinks that represent anywhere from 2 to maybe 3 meter wave heights, extending from the eastern Caribbean to the central and southwestern Caribbean, while the light blues into the dark shades of blues extending from the Gulf into the northwestern Caribbean. Regarding Jamaica's wave forecast tomorrow, north coast up to 1.1 meter wave height, south coast up to 1.9 meter wave height. And if we take a look at the winds that are causing it, it makes sense that the Caribbean has these high waves, because look at the bright greens into the yellows, represents anywhere from 15 to 20 to 25 knot winds. It makes sense. And we see that general flow of the winds coming in from the east, kind of looks east southeasterly ish across the eastern Caribbean, curving westward across the central Caribbean and curving more towards the southwest, if not the west southwest, across the southwestern Caribbean. We see more of a northeasterly flow across Florida into Cuba, into the western Caribbean, Central America. More of an easterly flow curving towards the north into Texas right here. And regarding Jamaica's wind forecast for tomorrow, not really experiencing much in the way of winds tomorrow. On the north coast, up to 8 knots. So I guess we're getting another break from the strong winds and the dusty conditions, but that could definitely return by weekend. Let's see, could it return Thursday? We see more of a northeasterly flow. Friday, look at the greens into the yellows, definitely returning for sure. Saturday as well. So we're looking at Wednesday, so at least we're getting in on a break. but I'll still mask up, and we see where the air is going to be piling up. Wherever we have the blues, that's where the air is going to be piling up, and it looks to be a cross section of some southern parishes, so it makes sense what we saw earlier on the forecast maps. The Euro and the GFS definitely highlighting that all of the air could pile up across southern Jamaica, so that's where we could get in on the daytime heating, causing us some isolated showers. And with the upper level winds coming in from the west, if we get some convection in the upper levels of the atmosphere, those upper level winds will blow those high cold cloud tops off towards the east. And if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are showing 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 6 a.m. Jamaica time. And what do we see on both maps? We see some blues represent rainfall across the waters to our north of Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne. We also see some rainfall to the east of St. Thomas and Portland on the Euro. GFS is showing something very similar, some of these blues even touching eastern St. Thomas, even touching the coast of northwestern St. Anne, northern Trelawney, northern St. James, northern Hanover as well. It's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds. Either way, we have consensus for that early morning time period. Regarding the afternoon now, both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are showing 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. And what do we see? We see the blues represent rainfall across sections of some southern parishes. So anywhere from St. Elizabeth eastward to Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, maybe section of western St. Thomas. We clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are adamant about that. But look at the whites across the northern end. Definitely going to be dry on the north coast for sure. It's going to be a southern parishes kind of day. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing that it's going to be raining somewhere across Jamaica within the next 24 hours. The Euro going all the way up to 0.28 of an inch of rainfall in the east, up to 0.26 of an inch of rainfall in the west. The GFS is more robust with the western end in the oranges, maybe up to 0.5, 0.75 of an inch of rainfall. The eastern end maybe 0.1 of an inch of rainfall. It's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds, and whatever happens, we'll definitely take it. Because we're in the month of March. We're in the peak of our dry season. In Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to 10 millimeters of rainfall for the month of March. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive up to 2.2 inches of rainfall for the month of March. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives for the month of March in terms of rainfall, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and that website will show you that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the calculations yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have some low-level clouds being steered from east to west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north. Some of these clouds we know have some moisture within them. We also see some moisture across portions of Florida, Bahamas, section of Cuba as we speak, some deep convection at that. But we're going to be zooming in on the northeastern Caribbean. Let's see what's happening over there. We see some grains that represent some light to moderate rainfall in and around Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, to the west of the British Virgin Islands, to the north of San Juan right there. We see some rain bands. And if we load these Doppler radar images from earlier today, you can see that portion of northern and northwestern Puerto Rico, we're definitely getting some isolated shores. We also saw some rain bands pushing through Guadeloupe as well, coming in from the east. Regarding the Barbados radar, we see some rain bands coming in from the east, maybe to affect Barbados later on tonight. We also see some rainfall right here passing to the north of Barbados, pushing to the west, already possibly affecting section of Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent. We also see some rain bands right here to the east of Grenada. Maybe Grenada might get on some isolated shores later on. We also see some rain bands right here to the east of Tobago. Who knows, maybe some of this rainfall has already started by the time this video is posted. And if we take a look at the weather wave Doppler radar images, you can see that rainfall that section of Florida is receiving as we speak in eastern Florida. We also see some rainfall across section of northern Bahamas, Cuba, section of the Yucatan, section of Colombia, some rainfall passing to the north of the ABC Islands from east to west. We also see some isolated sprinkles pushing in from east to west into portions of Guyana. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, clearly the most rainfall over the next 24 hours will be across section of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, and even section of Cuba and the Bahamas, where we see these oranges and reds represent up to 1 inch of rainfall, while the greens into the yellows into the oranges representing anywhere from 0.1 of an inch of rainfall up to 0.75 of an inch of rainfall is going to be experienced across sections of southern Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, St. Vincent and Grenadines, Barbados, section of St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, section of the northeastern Caribbean getting in on the mix, maybe Antigua and Barbuda, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, sections of the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, section of southeastern Belize, northeastern Guatemala, section of northern Honduras and eastern Nicaragua for sure. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast, and we know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.